Persisting and letting go, two very different ideas. When is it important to persist? When is it important to let go? What does it mean? Have you been perhaps looking up other coaches, and maybe some of them have been saying the same sort of things, or maybe from a lot of you I can see there's some confusion, so there must be a lot of contradictory sort of information out there. But I'm going to share with you in this video what my opinion is on this, what my experience is of this with things that I have manifested, and what my understanding is of this through my years, almost 20 odd years of discovering and reading Neville's works and playing around with the law of assumption. First up, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Athena Raven, a mental health and manifestation life coach, here to empower you on your manifestation journey. Here's my fluffy assistant Coco, who is here to spread some warmth and love on your journey, because I know that sometimes it can be quite a grueling process, and there's a lot of information to take in. So we are here to give you light and love on your journey. Please do like and subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow. And we truly do appreciate and love you guys for being here with us today. Now, persisting and letting go, two very different ideas, two very opposing things, right? Persisting, and then letting go. Okay, so let's start with this. From my experiences and understanding of it, persisting to me means in the beginning, when you have ascertained what your desire is, you've thought about it, you're like, this is what I want, and this is what it looks like, and this is what the end scene looks like as well, that depicts that I have my desire right now, that depicts that I have everything that I want now. You've established this scene, you know, you're doing your techniques, you're establishing what sort of techniques work for you, perhaps you're experimenting with some. So in the beginning, it is all about persisting with the techniques and a variety of techniques to really find out what works for you. I mean, of course, I always stick by Neville Goddard's, you know, SATs. They work the best for me, utilizing my imagination, but sometimes I'll add in some additional extras, you know, doing a bit of scripting or, you know, other kind of variations that utilize my imagination as well. And I'll try out some of these new fancy techniques that you hear about, whisper method and whatnot, just for fun. But, you know, this is about a time for discovery for yourself as to what really works. And when you're persisting with the techniques, you know, you're persisting with trying to change your consciousness and shift it to a state of having that desire. You know, the reason you were doing all those techniques in the beginning and you're persisting with this, what do you call it, like routine of doing various techniques all the time, or doing maybe the same technique but doing it over and over again. You know, the reason you're persisting with this is because you were trying to shift into state. You were trying to immerse yourself in what it would feel like to have that desire. What would it feel like if you were the person that you wish to be right now? What would it feel like if everything was working out for you, if you had the money that you craved and the health that you desired and the relationship, you know, with that SP? How would you be feeling? This is the purpose as to why you're doing these techniques in the first place. Remember, it is not the technique that is powerful. It is not the technique that is, you know, all that important. But you use whatever you can in order to shift state. And there's so many different ways of doing it. So you're persisting with that in the beginning. And the more you persist with it, the more that you will start to shift, the more you will start to embrace what it feels like. And that will be your go-to. So instead of feeling the lack and feeling the sadness or feeling the emptiness, whatever it is, you've bathed yourself in having that desire fulfilled with your visuals, with whatever technique you are using, and you're doing it on a regular basis to the point of which you start to shift. So that is your natural go-to, you know, and the more you shift into the state of the wish fulfilled, the less that you're going to be doing the techniques, because you naturally will not have a need to do it. So you naturally shift into the state of the wish fulfilled. You start to drop the techniques a bit more. You start to drop the lack. You start to drop the desperation, and everything just changes. You go into this state of just knowing it is yours. Your inner talking has shifted. Your language has shifted. Your overall demeanor and mood has shifted. Now, to be clear, when you reach the state of the wish fulfilled, you're not going to remain in that state 24/7 consistently, because a lot of us do at times, get triggered by the 3D. And as much as coaches say, ignore 3D, I've said it myself, like 3D is not important. And we've looked into this and we've proven this. Our five senses does not detect everything that is present in the world around us. There is so much more to the world that we do not see or translate with our five senses necessarily, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We have to be open with that and realize that, okay, I can get past the 3D, but you will have your days where you feel crummy. You will have your days of stress. And so, you once again persist in the state of the wish fulfilled. You shifted state inadvertently with something that's triggered you. So you go back to your visuals, go back to whatever technique you're using, bath yourself, immerse yourself in the feeling, persist in the sensation of what it feels like to have that desire, persist in that feeling. And it's just not even necessarily a highly emotional feeling as such. You could feel quite chilled, calm, content, and it's just a knowingness of having your desire. But you're persisting in that state as much as you can, as regularly as you can, until naturally, you have almost like programmed yourself and immersed yourself in it so much that it becomes more of a natural go-to. You're not having to constantly keep on doing it anymore. You're not obsessively keeping on doing it. You're not desperately trying with all these different techniques. No, you found something that works for you. You've immersed yourself, you've established what it feels like, and you're just holding on to that feeling as much as you can. And that's where you're persisting with the techniques, and you're persisting in the state of the wish fulfilled, persisting with the feeling of contentment of having your desire now, and carrying that through with you for the rest of the day, for as long as you can, as much as you can, and in complete faith that your manifestation is coming to fruition, that the seed has been planted. Now, letting go, which I know seems contradictory. It's like persisting, letting go. Like, what does this mean? So for letting go is about, does it make sense to say it's a byproduct? It's not the word that I'm looking for, but it is a result. Letting go is a result of having shifted to the state of the wish fulfilled. So once you've done your techniques on a regular, once you've bathed yourself in the feeling, once you've established it enough that you're dropping the techniques, you're letting go of doing the techniques because you're letting go of the angst. You're letting go of the desperation. You're letting go of not having your desire. You're letting go of the lack mentality. This is what it all means. And letting go is a result of having shifted into the state of the wish fulfilled. Because once you've shifted to the state of the wish fulfilled, you believe essentially that you have your desire now. Or I know for some people it's easier to believe that their desire is coming, whichever causes you less resistance, whichever you can really truly embody. But either way, it still gives you that feeling of calm, content, happiness, joy, because nothing is missing from your life. You know what it feels like. You have that desire, or you know that it's definitely coming and it's coming soon. In which case, you can just let go of doing all the techniques, let go of the lack, let go of the desperation, let go of noticing how much time is passing where you don't have your manifestation, letting go of the negative talking about your manifestation. Say if it's an SP, you're not talking about them negatively. You're not fixating on everything that went wrong. You're living in a new story, a new self-concept, a new version of you where you have your desire. You have the SP showing up as they should be, as you've wanted them to be, treating you as you would like them to treat you in a loving, committed relationship. And you can let go of any negativity around that, letting go of the old story as well, letting go of anything that's just missing. I know that a lot of people are worried. When I say to them about letting go, I've had people comment to me before about, well, I'm worried to let go because if I let go, then, my SP isn't going to come. My desire isn't going to come because I'm showing the universe that I'm not wanting it anymore. I've let go of it. It doesn't matter to me. But that's not how it works. For those of you who understand it, I mean, it's especially the law of assumption, in which case you're not depending on the universe to give you anything. That is the law of attraction. And I tend to mostly follow the law of assumption, although I do teach both. But say we'll go for the law of assumption in this video. The universe is not providing anything to you. It is about your state of consciousness shifting, and that will be mirrored out, as within, so without. Your beliefs, your thoughts, your ideas of yourself, it's all reflected out of you. And so you're letting go because it's there's not a need for it anymore. There's not a lack for it, because you've embodied the state of having it. You've immersed yourself in that. So although your desire for it will perhaps be lessened as a result of this, I mean, you never lose that desire completely. You're always going to want your end result. You're always going to want that end manifestation. But at the same time, it becomes less important. It doesn't dominate your life. You're not obsessively thinking about it. You're not obsessively worrying about it. You might occasionally have the odd negative thought here and there, or the occasional fleeting feeling that doesn't, match up with the wish fulfilled. But like I say, anytime you start shifting out of it, you bring yourself back in. But it will get to a point where it's not necessary to do that anymore. Your automatic go-to, your new programming is this new self-concept, is inhabiting this new state where you have that desire. And naturally, you do let go of the need for it. You do let go of the lack for it, because you know what it's like to have it now, and you've believed to a point that you do have it now, that it is a given, that it is yours. So that's what the letting go is. And you're not doing the techniques anymore, so you're letting go of that too, because you're not doing anything out of desperation. You're letting go of the 3D reality and what it is showing you, because your 3D reality is your delayed mirror. So you can kind of let go to that. So even though, we're all human, and we will occasionally, have a reaction to the 3D, because you just do sometimes, again, it's going to be less important. You're going to react less anyway, because you've shifted state. I mean, I've done a video in more detail about what it's like to shift state, the internal signs and the things that you encounter in shifting it. But again, you've let go of the importance of the 3D reality and what it's showing you, because that's a delayed mirror, and that you have embodied the new state. So you have your desire now, and that it's only a matter of time before the 3D reflects this. And so there's letting go on all these levels. You're not letting go because, I don't have interest anymore. I don't want my desire anymore. No, you still have it in your heart. That is your desire. That is what you're going to get. But you're letting go of all those other negative emotions, all the lack, all the needy mentality, all the behaviors of trying to control everything via the 3D, trying to micromanage anything, stressing out about it. It's just like a let go, breathe, relax. As I've mentioned before, like a metaphor that came to my mind before, you're sitting back and you're being chauffeur driven. You're letting go. You're letting someone else drive for you. And you are just like, let it happen. And whatever inspired action I need to take from my gut, not from a place of lack, but from my gut, from my inner being, that is the action that I need to take in the right time, if I need to take any real action at all, which is not always the case for your manifestations. So I hope that this clarifies a little bit for you. This is coming from my experience of what processes I've gone through with persisting in the state of the wish fulfilled. And then, of course, naturally, as a byproduct of that, being able to let go of all the negativity. And it feels so good for those of you who are in the process. And I know some of you are, and I know that some of you have already shifted state and have said to me about how I just feel free from it. I feel like I can focus on myself, and I can, live my life, and that's what it's all about. But do not worry about letting go. And it's not something that you do consciously, and it's not something that you do forcefully. It is a natural result of shifting to the state of the wish fulfilled. It will happen naturally and organically. And that's when that you've shifted state as well. So I hope this video was clear and helpful to you guys. If you have any other questions or any other videos you might like me to make on any topics that might be a bit confusing, then let me know in the comments. Sending you all the love in the world, and we'll see you soon.